If you're looking to buy a house in 2021, then I would be concerned. I've watched video after video about tips on buying a home as a first-time homebuyer, mistakes to avoid when buying a home for the first time, how to buy a house, and so many others. And I've made many of those videos myself. But nowhere has anyone shared what I believe is the most important factor when buying a home in an inflated, low inventory, high demand seller's market. And if I was a buyer, I'd want to know so I could be prepared myself. Plus, with a constantly changing housing market, up-to-date information and strategies are so important so that you don't end up empty-handed or get run over by a seller. So right now, I'm going to tell you what it is and then attempt to explain why overlooking this could cost you a bunch of money and stress down the road. But first, this video is sponsored by the YouTube like button. If you didn't know, tapping that like button can bring you so much more happiness through giving. And with proven studies showing that you can start experiencing a happier life immediately as soon as you tap that like button. So do me a favor, just take 1 second, tap that like button, and in return, here's a cool picture of a dog. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, Tyler here. So right out the gate, the number one factor you need to consider when you're buying a home in this seller's market is making sure that the house you buy will sell in a normal market or in a buyer's market without having to do a fire sale or dropping the price dramatically. See, I had two questions that I needed to get answered if I was going to be telling my buyers to pay tens of thousands of dollars above the list price, remove all inspections and appraisal contingencies just to get a home. The first was, are these houses going to appraise if we're offering $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 above the list price? And two, are my buyers overpaying for the homes they're buying? I talked with several different lenders in my market and did my own research, and this is what I found. About 75 to 80% of the purchases that we're seeing are appraising. This means that the odds of offering $20,000 over the asking price and it appraising potentially is 75% or greater. That's 3 out of 4 homes. That's pretty good in the current market situation that we're in. What was weird though, was that if homeowners saw a house in their own neighborhood that was recently sold for these crazy numbers and they tried to refinance their home, it wouldn't appraise for what they thought it was worth. Just ask anyone who's tried to refinance and there's a good chance that they've been disappointed in the valuation that they received. Now, this is just my opinion, but it seems like appraisers and banks are letting purchases and appraisals go through for the most part because if they didn't, we would have an even bigger problem on our hands. But when it comes to refinances, banks and appraisers are being extremely conservative. Why? Well, because they don't think that the market can sustain itself. At some point, the market is going to shift and these banks that allow these refinances could be the ones caught holding the bag. So if a majority of homes are appraising for these higher values, are buyers overpaying? On one hand, no, because banks are giving out the money because they're appraising. Basically, the demand is determining the value in this market. Then on the other hand, maybe, because if the market shifts, and it will, the market always does, we just don't know by how much, will these buyers be able to sell their homes for the prices that they bought it for in this low inventory market? And that right there, my friends, brings us back to, in my opinion, the most important factor today's buyers needs to be looking at. Will the home that they buy today sell in tomorrow's market? And what should you be looking for as a buyer to protect you and your financial future when it comes to buying a home in this market? Right now, everything is flying off the market. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of crap or not. When there's no other homes for sale, everything is going to sell. But that's not what happens in a buyer's market or even a balanced market for that matter. In these markets, buyers are able to compare between homes like one would be able to compare between types and brands of toothpaste. As a buyer, you look at which will provide you with more value for the price, and then after you've thought through your decision, you make your purchase. But right now, buyers are not able to compare because they're moving so quickly. So when a buyer purchases a home right now, there is a good chance that they've not thought through or considered the things that could affect their ability to be the brand of toothpaste that a buyer may want to choose in a different market. So as a buyer, here are 3 things that you need to keep in mind if you're going to buy or attempt to buy a home in this market. Number 1, if it has an odd floor plan, an awkward floor plan, just walk away. Don't try to justify that you can make it work, because when the market turns, you're gonna have a tough time trying to sell a home that just feels awkward, like this. Know what I mean? Number 2, look at the neighborhood of the house that you're looking at. If the market turns and it's not in a good neighborhood, the value of your home will be impacted greater than a home in a good neighborhood. Look for good school districts, trendy areas, nice public parks, desirable areas. Areas like these will help protect your home's value in a changing market, because people want to live in desirable areas no matter what the market conditions are like. And last but not least is condition. No matter if you buy a home that needs some work or it's already updated, you need to make sure that before you sell, whenever that may be, that it is updated. Because when it turns into a buyer's market and a buyer is picking between yours and 10 other homes, updates and features is what's going to get your home across the finish line to beat those other homes out in that market that you're in. So you need to make sure that you are in a financial position to be able to do these updates when the time comes. On a side note, if you're planning on living in the home for only 5 years or less, I would reconsider purchasing a home right now. You really should never purchase a home that way unless you are intending to fully flip the property in that short period of time. If you do this, you'll be at a greater risk of having to come out of pocket to get your home sold. And to be honest, it's not cheap to sell a home. I've had homeowners that have lived in their home for just a year and then had to move, and they had to come out of pocket over $15,000. If you're not in the optimal market to be able to do this, it really could hurt you in the long run. And I do want to add that while you should apply these principles to all homes that you buy, the homes that are impacted the most right now are more of the starter and move-up homes. Now, luxury homes are still selling well, but they're not seeing the 20+ offers on them right now. Now, if you apply these tips to the process of buying a home in your market, it may reduce the number of homes that you may consider. But honestly, at the end of the day, you're gonna be in a much better off position buying a good home than something that you compromise for. You need to treat your purchase of your home like you would purchase an investment property, with the end in mind. And honestly, you can do that in this market. I share my experience of making over $50,000 on the purchase of my personal home in this video right here. And if you're looking to purchase a home for the first time, check out my first time home buyer playlist right here. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and notification bell. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like these. And guys, we'll see you in the next video.